Before in Nigeria, if you wanted to buy a property, you needed to have 100% of the amount of property you wanted to buy. So you wanted to buy a house for 150 million, you needed to have 150 million. But recently, we've had this very brilliant initiative to allow people pay for property. And when I mean property, I mean land and houses in installments. And this has helped a lot of people get on the property ladder. But today, I will be talking about some common costly mistakes that I see people make when they want to buy property and they want to pay for it in installments. Welcome to this live session. I'm Tosin Omotosho, real estate and business lawyer. And on this channel, I share helpful tips to help you protect your real estate investments and your business. Today, we're all about real estate. So, what are these common mistakes that we see people make when it comes to buying real estate and paying installments? Now, one thing about buying property and paying in installments is that it's a kind of different transaction. Now, if I'm buying property for you from you, for instance, and I'm paying upfront, the transaction is going to be relatively straight to the point. I pay you, I get my documentation, and everybody is good. But when it comes to paying in installments, it's going to span over a period of time. Now, for you as an investor, you need to look at how to protect your interest in that situation. And that's what we'll be looking at today. So, what's the first step? What's the first mistake that I see people make and that can be very costly? It could cost you the entire money you're putting into that real estate. The first mistake is not looking at the antecedents of the party you're buying from. Now, you could be buying from an individual, you could be buying from a family, you could be buying from a company, you could be buying from a community. You have to look at the antecedents. Do you know why? Because when you're buying something from someone and you're paying in installments, especially in real estate, you're banking a lot on the integrity of the person. Because the person, if they're not giving you possession immediately, they could, at the same time, they have collected money from you for that same property, have collected money from other people. And because you're not going to move in immediately because you've not finished payment, it will be really hard for you. So you want to check the antecedents. Have they been delivering on the promises? Have they had similar transactions in the past? And how did it go? Have they been having issues? I'm sure that we're familiar, for those of us who use the online space a lot, we're familiar with a lot of issues that we hear online about people buying from companies and they're not able to get allocation for a period of time. These are the kind of things you should look out for because you don't want to get caught in that kind of problem. You don't want to pay after you have saved and denied yourself. You don't want to then pay for property and then when it's time for you to be given the allocation or given possession of the property, nothing is happening. It's quite risky. You don't want to do that. So you want to check the antecedents. You want to also be sure of the identity. So who am I buying from? It's very important. I cannot sell to you what is not mine. I can't take my a phone that doesn't belong to me, maybe it belongs to my mom or my dad, and say, "Oh, I really like you so much. Take this phone." It's not going to work because it's not mine. So it's not even mine to give. It's not mine to sell. That's where we have issues of stolen property when someone takes a phone that is not theirs and then they go ahead to sell. It's the same in real estate. You've got to confirm the identity. Who is this person or people who are selling this property to me? Who exactly are they? What is the antecedent? Do they deliver on promises like this? Have they done similar transactions like this? Check their reviews. If it is a company, it's easy to check reviews online. If you're buying from a family or a community, you can go into the community of the area where they live to get information. It's called local intelligence gathering, just to be sure, just to protect your interest. All right, that's very, very important. Now, another costly mistake that I see people make is that they don't do due diligence. So they get carried away with, oh, do a deposit of 1 million now and pay the rest over the next 12 months, and they just pay, and that's it. Real estate is not biscuit, real estate is not rice and beans. It's not a cloth that you order on Instagram, it's not a wig that I order on Instagram or these glasses that I'm wearing. It's fixed, it is real estate. It's not bought the same way you buy any other thing else because you can't carry it. And the place of due diligence cannot be overemphasized. What's due diligence? It's you going into a transaction and protecting your interest, ensuring that you're dealing with the right person and you're putting your money to good use. Now, it's due diligence is a very wide and broad topic, I have more detailed videos on my channel about that. I'll leave some of them in the link below. However, let me quickly do a short run up of what due diligence should look like when you are going into this kind of transaction. You want to confirm the location of the property. Where exactly is this property located? Because we've had instances where people were told that we want to sell this land to you and they couldn't get access to the land. So what does that tell you? If I'm buying a property that I cannot get to, I can't drive there, I can't even walk there. So when I buy the property, how am I going to get to the property that I bought? You know? That's number one. Number two is sometimes we've had issues where people buy property. People, when we're doing due diligence, you'll be shown some documents of a property, but the property they are showing to you in real life is different from what is on that document. And that's the place of getting professionals when you are doing due diligence. All right, you want to confirm the location. Another issue that we usually see is people buy properties, people sell properties that is not theirs. Like I remember vividly a client of mine wanted to buy a property. He's not actually a client, it was like a family friend, and he said, I need you to do due diligence, and just I want to be sure that this person who is selling to me actually has the rights to sell. So I picked up the phone and called the person. And I said, oh, okay, so you want to sell this property. How is this land to you? Blah, blah. And he says, oh, he could not satisfactorily answer that question, as simple as it seems. So apparently, he was going to sell property that he was not in any way connected to, that was not his. I'm sure you're probably wondering, like, does that happen? Yes, it does. It does. The stories that we hear, they are mind blowing. So this is not something you want to skip up. You want to be sure that that property you want to buy actually belongs to the person or persons who are selling it, and they have the legal right to sell. It's right. Like you can't sell what doesn't belong to you. All right, that's very important. Now, how do you get this information? How do you know all this? One thing you should always do when you're buying property is to ensure you have your professionals in place. Invest in professionals. All right. Invest in professional in an experienced property lawyer to confirm title for you. Title means ownership. A lawyer would help you check to be sure, okay, this person you're buying from actually owns this property. Invest in getting a surveyor. A surveyor helps to confirm the location of the property. All right, you can't go, you cannot, you should never do any real estate transaction without these two professionals. You would be shooting yourself in the foot if you go ahead and buy property and you don't engage professionals for these two purposes that I just talked about. All right, it's very important. So that's the second costly mistake that people make, not doing due diligence on the property. Let me know in the comment section how this live session is going. And if you're watching the replay, let me also know in the comment section. So what's the third costly mistake that people make when they are buying property and paying in installments? They are not clear on the terms and conditions. For instance, you're buying and paying for a property in installment. You should be clear on what's the initial amount you are going to pay as the first deposit. When are you paying the second? How many deposits are you paying? What are the amounts that you are paying? Where are you going to be paying to? What happens if there's a default? If life happens and maybe you can't pay on time, what is going to happen? Are you going to be given possession of that property once you do the initial payment, or it will be after? You've got to negotiate all this. Now, when you are going into a transaction like this, you want to buy a property in installments, usually you should start by you found a property that you want, and then you want to go ahead and buy it. Then you talk to your lawyer to do due diligence on it. And usually after the due diligence is done, you then do negotiation. You negotiate on these terms and conditions. And usually the negotiation should be before you pay, because once you have made payments, you understand me? Once you have made payments, you really don't have the upper negotiating hand. So you want to negotiate these terms and conditions. Usually, what I do when my clients go into transactions like this is we'll draft the contract of sale. That's the initial documentation that you have when you're paying an installment, detailing everything. So we'll send it to the seller's lawyer. The seller's lawyer with the seller will look at it. If there's any term they don't feel comfortable with, they can edit it. We would also look at it. We'll edit. We'll negotiate until we get a win-win terms and conditions for both parties. And then my clients can then go ahead and make payments for the property, and then we get the contract of sale signed. So being clear on these terms and conditions is very important. Now, remember I talked about a contract of sale. That's the initial document that you get. that is signed at the beginning of the instrumental payment transaction. It is until you finished payment that the property is then the ownership of the property is transferred to you. A contract of sale doesn't transfer ownership of a property to you. It is a deed of assignment, or in some instances it's called a deed of conveyance, that transfers ownership of a property to you. If you are going into a transaction like this and the seller's lawyer says, I'm going to draft the document, you don't just bring your biro and just sign. You get your own lawyer to read through so that you can be sure of what you are going into. You need your own professional to watch your own back to protect your interest in that transaction. Now, when you finish total payment, the deed of assignment is drafted, is then signed, and the property becomes yours. All right. That is how you should go about buying a property in installments. So remember these three costly mistakes, avoid them by all means. I hope this has been helpful. If you have questions, let me know in the comment section. And if you are watching the replay, you can also type your comment section, your questions rather, in the comment section below. I will be leaving links to some other videos on this topic that would really help you. I've got an ultimate guide to help you buy scam-free real estate in Nigeria. I've got the due diligence steps, 5 due diligence steps you should take when you're buying real estate in Nigeria. I will leave the link in the description box, so you go ahead and check those videos. If you need our services, you need more legal advice, you can also click the link in the description box. All right, so I hope this has been helpful. I will see you next time in our next video, and make sure to watch the next video here. Thank you.